Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Hecht Creative. Today we're going over the top 10 Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie figures in 5-inch scale from Jakks Specific. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Now let's get to it. And before we start the list, here is a primer on all the figures included within, such as Wave 1 here of individually released figures featuring Sonic, Tails, Shadow, and Ivo Robotnik. A light-up 4-pack featuring Light-Up Sonic, Light-Up Shadow, Angry Tails, and Knuckles. A second wave of individually released figures such as Super Sonic, Sneering Shadow, Chow Tails, and the same Knuckles from the Light-Up pack. 2 deluxe multi-packs featuring Shadow with a motorcycle and Super Sonic with, spoiler alert, Super Shadow. Number 15 is Chow Tails. Not a huge fan of this one. Only shows up in a split-second scene in the movie. I just don't like this one that much at all. The paint isn't even that great on the head. Look at how thin it looks and how faded it looks around the edges. Just awful. Even on the face, too. The body is that same old under-articulated Tails body we've seen before. The only thing worth about this figure is replacing these shoes with the original Tails from Wave 1. All in all, a disappointing figure that could have been basically anyone else. Number 14 is Light Up Sonic. I know I had to put a Sonic really low on this, and yeah, it's this one. I'm not sure I even like all these holes in his head. It's just weird to me. Doesn't look that great at all. And the expression on his face, come on, it doesn't look that great at all. And the skin tone, it's really off and pale. The biggest knock against this one, sadly, and the biggest knock against all the future Light Up figures on this list is the lack of articulation in the waist. That's a shame. And the rest of the figure is your standard Sonic, except for that articulation over here, as well as this weird panel back here. What is he, Mecha Sonic or something? And the light up feature looks really cool on his head, although it just isn't right for me in the way that this will eventually wear out. I'll have to replace the battery or the lights or something, but yeah, it's a waste. As much as I loved seeing Light Up Sonic in the 4-pack, I really wish it was a different character that got the light up treatment. Anyone else in Sonic, this could have been a standalone figure itself. Number 13 is Sneering Shadow with those teeth. Let's talk about this guy real quick. The only thing different about this figure is the head, and it's a nice head sculpt with actually a fix to the eyes, but it looks kind of weird, like they're warping to the side. The back of the head is the same sculpt as before. I think better painted, honestly. Kind of off here, though, sadly, but it's a much richer paint than the previous one. But seeing teeth on these figures is really weird. It reminds me of a certain Sonic we saw back in 2019. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. And other than how weird the teeth and eyes are, as well as these stripes up here, there's a lot of paint errors and mishaps in these figures on the shoes mostly, and on these gauntlets. It's kind of sad. So yeah, as much as I love Shadow, this isn't really that great a figure to me. Number 12 is Movie Robotnik. I love Jim Carrey in the role. He's amazing at it, but this figure really lacks a lot of things. The legs mostly don't move that well, and it's kind of sad. I do like the paint on it as well as his cloak. It's amazing over here with the paint. And they actually did a really nice job with the articulation. It works out really well. He even has butterfly joints. Who does that? And the face sculpt is just great. It's classic Jim Carrey. But my main issue is he's way out of scale with everybody else. I mean, look how tall the Chow Tails is next to him. It's just sad, like the Chow Tails. The only bright spot in this figure, as far as scale being, he fits in really well with the previous Sonic figures from the second movie, but with the third movie, he just isn't that great. Numbers 11 and 10 are the bike and Shadow himself, so let's talk about these. The bike itself has some nice sculpt and some pretty nice paint, but it doesn't show up enough in the movie for me to justify it really getting it, honestly. That being said, though, they put a lot of detail into this that is well commended. I love how everything looks, and it's really up to par with how a bike should be. It's great. It is a little flimsy in some parts and a little too forgiving in others, but it's a commendable effort to make a bike for a little animal character that only shows up in the movie for, what, 20 minutes, 10 minutes? And the bike is nice, but it doesn't quite reach the top 10 for me. Shadow, on the other hand, has a really good look. I'm very surprised at how much I like this head sculpt. It's really, really well done. I just love it. I'm really digging the darker colors used for this set, and it's just nice. We do miss out on the kind of like glassy eyes, but they look great here. Very cartoony. The rest of the body, sadly, isn't that great, but they did what they could with the limited articulation they could put in. They put mostly everything in. We're missing butterfly joints, we're missing a waist joint, joint, and we're also missing joints for the feet. But other than that, it's a really solid and very vibrant Shadow. I wish they did this for the original Shadow, and that would be awesome. You know the one from Wave 1? Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But sadly, adios, Shadow the Hedgehog. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and hit the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. In 9th place, we have Supersonic, looking really awesome in a vibrant yellow. I like this a lot. Getting down to the nitpickiest of nitpicks, this Sonic is a remold of Sonic from Wave 1, just in yellow, so yeah, it's mostly reuse. The head, however, isn't reused. It looks really great. My biggest problem is this stupid dimple over here. What is that thing? I don't even know, and I wish his eyes were a little bit redder. I don't know, the expression just isn't my thing. The sculpt on the quills is amazing, though. I really love how they did this. It's so nice to see. It looks gorgeous. Way to go, Jakks. But sadly, this Sonic isn't super enough to reach number 1 for me. In 8th place is Light Up Shadow. I really love Shadow. Don't get me wrong, a great character, but this Light Up one just isn't doing it for me. Like the previous Light Up figures, this is mostly remold with some missing articulations, such as a ball head and the waist over here in lieu of a button over there and a panel back here. The legs work really well and very nicely. The arms are awesome over here too. The head has a swivel and the light is really nice, at least when under dark, but yeah, it's kind of creepy seeing him like this. I do like how it fades and shines though. It's a pretty good type of light. It just isn't my favorite thing, and it really lacks the articulation I would want for a figure like this. While I am glad they released that 4-pack, sadly half of it isn't the best for me, sadly. Once again, adios, Shadow the Hedgehog. Sadly. Number 7 is Wave 1 Tails, a really nice figure marred by one simple color choice. The shoes. It's the shoes. Why are they not black? I've been saying this for a long time. These shoes should be black. I know they're gray like the games, but they should be black like the movies, and the inaccuracy, and this figure would be way higher if it weren't for that. Whew, but griping aside, the tails are really nicely sculpted. I even like how they're not even painted. We just have a separate piece over here, like the other figures for tails, I believe. And you can literally and figuratively feel the fur on this figure. It's so well done. Maybe Jakks will eventually do flocked figures. That'd be cool. But yeah, this is super nicely done as far as sculpting. And Stone was right. He is adorable. This is an adorable head sculpt. I love it so much. It's very cute. And the eyes are a vibrant blue. The little tufts are great. And Colleen O'Shaughnessy, great job, by the way, with this. I love her in this. It's just a great sculpt, great articulation, and really nice paint on the figure, except for the shoes. But yeah, it's just wonderful. I love this tail so much. Adorable. Yep, Stone's right. Finally getting to a great figure with this one. I'm really happy with it, but it's not number 1. Number 6 is Light Up Supersonic, a really nice figure, and the function actually improves this one tenfold. Basically a remold up to the neck of the Light Up Sonic. This is really nicely done. Again, the gold I think is better on Sonic than actually the blue in some cases. But let's talk about this head sculpt saved by one simple line or lack thereof. I really love how this looks much better than the previous Supersonic. And the glow is just amazing from this. You may not be able to see it on camera that well under the lights, but it is glowing. The entire head is glowing. They figured it out. Great job, Jakks! It's just so wonderful to see. It works great in the dark, pretty okay in the light, but you can see the emanating raw power and energy of Supersonic here. This is wonderful. In the case of Light Up Supersonic, function overrides form. The glowing head is amazing, but he's not number 1. And a quick spoiler warning if you haven't seen the movie yet. For number 5, we have the Light Up Super Shadow, a really nicely done figure that's super cool. Can I just say it here for the millionth time? They got the color right. They got the color right. It's just so good. I love it. I mean, I've been waiting this since the game Super Shadow released. I'm like, I want my kind of like cream colored Super Shadow, and here it is. Look at this. It's so amazing. I just love this. I think this is the best expression we've had from Shadow 2. The sneer is amazing. This line, this single line, tells so much. And I feel like we kind of have a little bit of a hyperness going on with the pinkish hues over here. I'm not sure, but it looks really nice compared with this also. Like, it isn't fully red. It's kind of pink compared to this. It really fits and works super well. And speaking of working super well, the light up function is S tier. You can see it better here than on the Supersonic version. Probably because I rated it a little bit higher, but This is great. I've been waiting for this for so long. I think I jumped and cheered and screamed for something when I was in the theater seeing this, but man, I just love this one so much. A moment I've been wanting from games to beer and movies for years. So yeah, God tier. Kind of literally in this case. Wonderful figure. I love it a lot, but it's not number 1. Number 4 is Angry Tails. I don't know why I love this figure that much, but here he is. I love this one a lot. Let's talk about him. I really love how vibrant the shoes are. They're very dark and very white as well as very red, and the color just pops so nicely on the shelf. The white is much whiter, I feel, than the previous Tails. I just love how the paint really shines brightly for this figure, and that head sculpt is amazing. I love how pouty he looks. This is a look you rarely see from Tails. Usually a smile, but this one, it's a frown. It's unique. The eyes even have a little bit of a greenish hue here too. It's wonderful, and the rest of the body is most of the same sculpt, but the head sculpt really makes it for this one, as well as the shoes. So yeah, an amazing figure. I really love this character too. Tails is amazing. A real great backbone to the Sonic team, but he's not number 1 in this case. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and hit the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. Number 3 is Wave 1 Sonic. Yeah, the original, basically. The guy that started the whole franchise. Looks amazing, and let's talk about him. The shoes are such a vibrant red, and the blue looks so nice over here. And even though you get a cut here for articulation, it's still an articulation point that works out very well for the figure. We get butterfly joints for the arms that are super nice. We get these great grabby hands. We get wonderful articulation basically everywhere. This was my intro to this line, and I said, this is just awesome. The head sculpt has a nice classic Sonic smile with a little bit of interior mouth, and the teeth are just so nice. They aren't those like blocky things that Shadow had. It's one nice straight line, very clean. The green from his eyes shine brightly. I love the little flash inside of his ears. It's really weird to say, but I do like how this looks very straight, very on point. Nice. The other light up Shadow had that everywhere. It didn't look good. It looks much nicer like this, and then you get this. It's just so good. Maybe light piping for the eyes? I'm not exactly sure. From the standpoint of action figures, this being your introduction to this new line is a home run. Great job, Jakks. But not number 1. Number 2 is Wave 1 Shadow. An immaculate, pretty much masterpiece in my eyes. Let's talk about this amazing guy. I love how well painted the shoes are. They look amazing in this form. It is a nice sleek black that hides your articulation really well and looks just awesome. The inhibitor rings look greatly painted, as well as the air shoes down here. They're just so nice from front and back. It's just such a sleek, nicely done figure, and the paint is wonderful on the head, and the face is just awesome and scary. But there is one thing I'd like to mention between these two shadows, the Sneering Shadow and the Wave 1 Shadow, are the eyes right over here. On the original, there is a white line over here, and on the new one, they have this weird kind of wave where it warps up a little bit. I much prefer this one in a way, honestly. This one looks kind of weird, like his eye is bulging out in a way. From the front, it doesn't make much difference, and I kind of like the little beadier, smaller eyes on Shadow, rather than the ones that go down to the very bottom on this one. So yeah, I just love this one. I also love the stripe detail on the paint. It's very uneven, but to the point where it's sort of natural to be uneven in places. It's very nicely done for all the paint on this figure. Just great. Sleek articulation, really nicely done paint and sculpt, a really awesome figure, but still not number 1. Number 1 is Knuckles. Admit it, you all knew this was coming. I probably have a bias. I probably need help, but yeah, I love this guy. They got the shoes right. They look phenomenal. The sculpting is really amazing on this, as well as the sculpting for the legs, as well as the body, and that crest is really nicely done. A little faded on the edges, but on purpose. It looks great. The Knuckles themselves look amazing. I just love these. He can open and close his hands to make a fist or a grabbing hand. It all works so well. It's a crab claw in a way. And I also love the sleek up and down lines used for most of the front of the figure. Then on the back, you get a little more matted fur. It looks wonderful and just super clean. It's very nice. Just great. In that head sculpt, we get the fur that's a little more tightly bunched over here to longer streaks going down the hair. each sort of red banana. I'm not sure. They look great though. And his sneer is awesome. We get some nice paint for the nose, and the eyes are small and beady and kind of radiating with electricity and anger and stuff. I wish this was a light up figure too. That'd be amazing to put on the list. And we all know that Knuckles has had a problem moving left and right with his head, but his body can do that for him, and it doesn't really look that bad. It looks very awesome actually. Super nicely done for this figure. To be honest, yes, I put Knuckles at the front, but really all of these figures have their merits and drawbacks. They're all pretty much equal in my eyes, but Knuckles is better. One of the best. And at the end of the day, if you want a quick, cheap way to get all the figures in the movie, at least everyone important that isn't a repeat, I would get the Light Up 4-pack, the Light Up 2-pack of Super Sonic and Super Shadow, and of course, Ivo Robotnik. How could you not want to get him? Overall, a top 10 for a Blue Blur. I loved seeing the Sonic 3 movie in theaters. It was amazing and set a new bar for movies to come. As is the same with these action figures. They have set a bar that probably cannot be cleared by the figures from the games. The articulation, sculpt, and paint for each of these are basically unmatched, and thus I had a very hard time choosing which one would be last, which one would be first, and all in between. And even as I was going through the ranking, recording my video, I actually changed up a couple characters up or down a slot or two. In short, all of these figures are just that good and worth your time. I love them all. So if you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 Jakks specific or movie action figures in general, then you'll love all these. They're really great. I would highly recommend getting the figures I mentioned a little bit ago in the video, or just seeing which one you would like based on what's on the shelf right now. But make no mistake, if this is Waves 1 and 2, I can't wait to see what Wave 3 brings. So which figures are in your top 10 or top 5, top 3? Which one here is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Hecht Creative. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also visit us at jessehechtcreative.com for more reviews like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and keep being creative. Stay tuned.